I saw a really interesting idea for a new McCree passive that involves hunting bounties, and I thought it was pretty cool, so we're going to talk about it here in today's video, given that over the past few patches, McCree has been struggling to keep up with Soldier. First and foremost, this was inspired by a Reddit post, link will be down below. So the gist of this passive, I'm only loosely basing it off this post, was that certain circumstances would allow McCree to either see targets through walls, similar to how Sombra does, or kill specific targets for increased ultimate charge, which is pretty cool as well. I would like to mention that today's video isn't really about whether or not McCree is powerful enough currently and should receive these buffs or changes. It's more about diversifying him and making him a more unique hero and not just a discount or upgraded version of Soldier depending on the patch we're in. Apparently the idea for this passive stemmed from one that happened a while ago that basically made it so McCree could see enemies who are on fire through walls. The problem with this though is that the fire system is easily abusable, and a mechanic that doesn't actually affect the game, well, shouldn't affect the game. The fire system is completely separate from any in-game actions. It's just there to make you feel good when you're doing good. Like, I'm on fire, yes, but you know, it doesn't do much more than that. So incorporating it into an in-game mechanic would require Blizzard to rework the fire system and make it so it's like consistent, and that's not a possibility. This evolved into the idea Eldritch6601 gave us on Reddit, which was that as soon as an enemy kills an ally, for a few seconds, depending on what would be balanced, you can see that enemy through walls, which would secure McCree's position as a sort of anti-flanker. If a Tracer dives your Ana and your Ana gets killed, you can hopefully find that Tracer and see where she went and not just be completely caught off guard as she blinks in and recalls out and you don't know where she came from. Let's talk about the ramifications of this, what this would actually do for the game. For one, it would probably make McCree a little more powerful than he is now, so he may need to be tuned back depending on how he's going to start to perform after his new Deadeye changes. But remember, this isn't about balancing McCree, it's about making him more unique. The balance can come later. So as far as a balance standpoint goes, this separates McCree and Soldier 76 quite a bit. It makes Soldier 76 more of a tank buster with his high, consistent damage output and high weapon spread if he doesn't burst fire, and it turns McCree into a more precise, anti-flanker, assassination-style hero that can take out enemies with low HP very quickly. And it also synergizes very well with his kit. The flashbang would make it easy to take out a Tracer if you know she's around a corner. His roll would make it so if you fail your first few shots, you can get more ammo, or you can roll in the direction of an enemy to make sure you secure the kill. McCree's kit is definitely, seems like it could be anti-flanker. It could be very good for anti-flanker, but it just doesn't have that edge. It doesn't have enough to make it do so. This passive could definitely change that. It would just basically prevent flankers from overstaying their welcome. Sure, you could say just have good situational awareness and flankers can't overstay their welcome, but we see Tracers in high top 500 even doing things where they're just killing the entire enemy team, and sure, they're definitely skilled, but sometimes you gotta wonder, what's the counterplay to a skilled Tracer? A skilled McCree doesn't always cut it, so this change could definitely help with that. If Tracer gets 1 or 2 kills, she's gonna be marked for the McCree, and McCree's gonna be hunting her down. And similarly, the Tracer is gonna have to realize that the McCree is coming after her and, you know, take a few more steps to be secure in her safety. Now with this passive, there are also some downsides to it as well. The first one being the obvious, don't we have enough wall hacks in this game already? You have Widowmaker, you have Sonic Arrow from Hanzo, and Sombra's passive, which basically acts like the same as those two, except slightly different visually. This would probably look like one of those things. And some people were saying, you know, we just don't need that. There's already too much wall hacks in the game. We don't want it to become something that everyone ends up getting, and it's just something we take for granted. It should be more novelty, and it should remain on the heroes it makes sense on. At the same time though, some heroes are so drastically different from what they are in the lore, Reaper being a big one, who in the lore can move very fast, teleport quickly, shoot grenades, among other things. He can't do any of that in game. So at some point you gotta realize that Blizzard has said, you know what, it doesn't matter if it matches the lore is just kind of there to provide a little bit of, you know, enjoyment. It's not really gameplay oriented. Let's talk about another idea that someone on my Discord server actually had for Bounty Hunter. Link to that will be down below as well. Someone on my server mentioned the idea of a Bounty Hunter change where it doesn't necessarily have vision through walls, but through some mechanic would allow you to kill certain targets for extra ultimate charge. So you can never use Deadeye even more in your games. All jokes aside, this actually sounds like a kind of cool concept. It doesn't actually change the game necessarily, but you could probably throw it on the same scenario as we put the vision on. So an enemy kills one of your teammates, and for the next few seconds, it'd probably have to be a little longer than a few, maybe 5 seconds. Killing them would grant you, I don't know, an extra 15% ult charge towards your Deadeye. Deadeye is actually somewhat decent now, and the fact that it charges very quickly means a lot of people are going to be using it more as like a quick take out 1 or 2 enemies ability. For example, enemy Pharah in the sky is with her Mercy and giving you problems. Deadeye can probably deal with them pretty well. They're not going to get to cover quickly enough for them to get taken down. So something that allows you to generate Deadeye more and use it like as something like Tracer's Pulse Bomb almost. You can use it very often for a quick kill, like you can just throw your Pulse Bomb on somebody, or you can combo it for more kills, like when you throw a Pulse Bomb into a Gravitoncer, you can get a team wipe. If you do this with McCree, it'd be the same scenario. A fast building ultimate that can also be used for more combos and potential team wipes given the scenario. Once again, this would help solidify McCree as sort of an anti-flanker. This one would help against tanks as well, I guess, because if a Roadhog hooks your soldier and kills him and then you return with a kill, you'd still get ult charge, stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, Roadhogs and tanks take a while to kill. This would definitely be more useful against flankers that are diving your backline, which you can stay back to protect while being rewarded with ult charge, which could be a pretty cool trade-off. I think this change actually wouldn't necessarily be OP at all unless it gave you like massive amounts of ult charge, which I imagine it wouldn't. I think this would be a pretty interesting and balanced change almost. And more importantly, it would diversify him from Soldier 76. You're turning Deadeye into like this quick draw, bang, like, you know, Wild West shooter style thing, where when you whip out your gun, you get a kill, like fast. You're not going for the team wipe all the time. Whereas Soldier 76, he builds up his ultimate, he waits to time it, and he combos it with something like Ana's Nano Boost and goes for a full team wipe. McCree is more about that quick early advantage. Take out the Pharah, take out the Mercy, or somebody that's out of position with Deadeye. And this would just further solidify that, and I think would actually make it so the new Deadeye wouldn't need to be fully reworked, because I've also seen that discussion thrown around. Deadeye just needs a rework because it's that bad. I don't know. I think this could be another interesting change. Now, there's still a problem I have with both of these, actually. I like what they can do after your teammate gets killed, but the problem is just that. Your teammate needs to get killed for them to be activated. So there are definitely some other things we should consider for like activating these passive abilities, the bounty or the vision through walls. I have an idea that I think would fit so well to McCree's lore and would also kind of fit in game. And this idea is one where McCree effectively counts his enemies' bullets, and as they lower the amount of bullets in their primary weapon, they can be seen more through walls. Obviously, they'd have to make it so like the first half of the magazine shows nothing, but then after that, they slowly start to show up through walls until they're out and reloading, in which case they're fully visible, maybe like a Widowmaker ultimate. The reason I think this would fit lore-wise is because of McCree's expert knowledge on guns and firefights. McCree is the type of guy similar to Archer, you know, the cartoon character that would probably count enemy bullets and know when they're out. And so, therefore, he could hear the sound and somehow it would, you know, make some sort of connection. You know, you don't have to really explain this lore-wise, and he'd be able to see them through walls in-game. The gameplay is what we're after, though, so let's talk about how it would fit there. I think it'd be pretty interesting because heroes like Tracer frequently dump full magazines into your team, but also reload very quickly. So you'd have very brief moments where you could see Tracer and maybe keep tabs on where she is. Maybe you could see which health pack she's running towards after she tries to kill your Ana, or even successfully kills, you know, someone on your team. It could also help with Genji as he wall climbs around and tries to trick you and manipulate you and get behind you. You'd be able to see him if he was low on ammo, which he could counterplay with never getting low enough on ammo to actually be seen. This may be a little bit gimmicky though, to be honest. It doesn't sound like a fully complete idea, so it'd have to be worked through. But another one I had, because that one might not be good enough, is simply some sort of noise signature, where when heroes are just shooting frequently and not taking any downtime, they start to be seen through walls more. And as they rest and they don't shoot as much, you can't see them as well. So someone like Tracer, who's just dumping magazines over and over again, or Genji, who's just right-clicking and throwing his shurikens all over the place, you'll be able to see them, and they'd have to retreat, and not only retreat, but stop shooting as well to avoid being seen by you. Look, to be honest, none of the ideas I'm going to give you are going to be perfect, but the point of this is to open our eyes to new possibilities, because you could take a bunch of these ideas and probably twist them around and mangle them and take ideas from one and another and potentially create the perfect new passive for McCree that would differentiate him from Soldier 76 and other heroes in the game without making him overpowered, just making him more maybe niche. I would love to hear your thoughts on the passives I mentioned, as well as maybe any changes you'd make or any completely different ideas you had, because it'd be cool to make McCree his own hero, not just like a skill-heavy Soldier 76. Leave your comments down below. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Lone Hawk out.